then that particular status can be given. I think that this is a bit of a loophole because in many other countries, you have to apply before actually coming into the country, which allows the country to actually properly vet you. But in South Africa, criminals from anywhere, and I'm not necessarily referring to the Palestinians, but criminals can actually come into South Africa and then apply for refugee status.
A new witness will appear before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in South Africa, Pretoria, this morning. Last week, witnesses concluded their evidence on the east of the Johannesburg Metro Police Department. They focused on suspended Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi's unlawfully authorization of the fitting of blue lights on vehicles of alleged cartel member Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. The commission is tasked to investigate the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's allegations of corruption amongst senior police officials. The witnesses also detailed how officers allegedly aided criminal elements to infiltrate their units. Sibahle Mota reports.
Witnesses before the Madlanga Commission have testified how those working in law enforcement agencies have allegedly assisted individuals believed to be linked to criminal syndicates infiltrate law enforcement agencies. This includes the unlawful fitting of blue lights in private vehicles belonging to alleged criminal syndicate member Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. The commission has also heard how top police officials allegedly tried to interfere in investigations involving Katiso KT Molefe. He's another member believed to be part of the criminal cartel. The new witness is expected to expound on allegations investigated in the Madlanga Commission.
Some truck drivers say they have spent up to 4 days waiting to cross to Botswana at the Groblersdal border post outside South Africa's Lephalale in the Limpopo province. Trucks can be seen queuing for about 2 kilometers on the N11 road leading to the border. These drivers say they prefer using the border post as it offers easier access to other countries.
I've been here in the queue for past 3 days, and according to the information we've been getting from the SA Customs here, they are saying there's a limit for documents processing in Botswana side there.
There's a problem in terms with sanitation and also where to get water.
Yeah, I've been here maybe for quite 4 days now because most of the trucks are using this border. Due to cheaper and the distance is short to Zambia or Botswana via Zimbabwe.
And lastly, the U.S. State Department says it will declare Venezuelan criminal group Cartel de los Soles a foreign terrorist organization. The Secretary of State says President Nicolas Maduro heads the cartel, something the Venezuelan leader has denied. The BBC's Ian Wells.
The Cartel de los Soles is a term used by the US to describe an alleged criminal group involved in activities such as drug trafficking. Washington claims it is led by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, which he strongly denies. The US hasn't published evidence publicly of Maduro's direct involvement in drug trafficking, but its characterization of Maduro as a drug trafficker is seen as a way for the US to possibly justify targeting him or those close to him personally as part of its military campaign against alleged drug trafficking. Donald Trump said on Sunday that he could have discussions with Maduro and that he thinks Venezuela would like to have talks with the United States, but did not give further details.
Recapping on your top stories, as South Africa hosts the G20 Leaders Summit this coming weekend, a meeting of powerful and most developed industries, there is now speculation that the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is preparing to step down after the summit. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Good morning and happy Monday to you and yours. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I certainly did. The weekend was good. The weekend was restful. I did a lot. I drove like 6 hours to and back from supporting a loved one for a bereavement, the passing on of their grandmother. So it was sad, but I think it was great for, to support those that you love through something, but I also got a little bit of time to rest, got a little bit of time for some R&R with my own loved ones as well. Hopefully you had a great one as well. And thank you so much for coming in and joining us this Monday morning right here on Channel Africa. The morning team began our morning as usual to give us the latest of what's going on the continent and the world over. That's Asanda Beta and Peter Ndoro, who gave us Africa Rise and Shine. But now it's 8 minutes past 9 Central Africa time, and it's time for On the Move. My name is Palesa Tau. I'm riding solo today. Benjamin Moshatama is not with us for the day, but hey, I have you to keep me company for the next 3 hours. So come through, join me and join us here on Channel Africa. We're on www.channelafrica.co.za. We're on a DSTV OpenView 628, DSTV 802. Those are our audio bouquets, and we are on the SABC Plus app. So loads of places to be a part of the Channel Africa family. Let's take a look at some of the conversations we'll be going into today. As usual, our gender-based violence focus is how we start off a Monday morning. Very important conversations indeed. And today we're going to be speaking to an individual who, after losing a loved ones to gender-based violence, they asked the questions that many of us have felt in many moments, right? How do we protect ourselves? How do we create systems that are part of the protection of people who are victims of gender-based violence? She built an AI aunt of sorts. This is a chatbot known as Zuzi that listens without judgment, that guides users through legal and emotional steps after being victims of gender-based violence, and helps store evidence securely. We'll be speaking a little bit more about this particular app in the first hour of the show for today's gender-based violence focus. And then it's time for the African View. That's our debate feature again on a Monday morning. We're looking at relationships, and you know what? Because of social media, I think we're having so much more conversations about relationships, but we're also having a tug of war of sorts where people are saying, hey, this is way too contractual. Modern relationships are too contractual. That is the debate topic for the day. Is modern dating too contractual? So which side are you on? Is it a yes or a no for you? Let's find out from both our guests, but also engage together in this conversation. We wrap up in today's fitness and nutrition. It is festive season, and they have, you have a wedding that you're going to, you have a holiday you might be going to, and now we are sort of framing our fitness around these events. So like, oh my goodness, I have a holiday or a wedding to go to in 2 weeks, and I have a dress I need to fit in, and you want to exercise quickly for these 2 weeks. Is that healthy for you? We'll be delving deeper into that in the final hour of the show. We're on all social media platforms. Find us at Channel Africa 1, but also join me in the studio. I want to have you sitting there on Benjamin's chair and having these conversations with me. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's go. We're on the move.
Siyabangena manje. Vito Jablan Kolele Imakota. Jablan is a young man from Guyana in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena ba? Ay. Mbuleke.
dziko lapansi likuyang'ana mzinda wa Johannesburg. Atsogoleri ochokera m'mayiko akuluakulu azachuma pa dziko lapansi akumana kukambirana njira zomwe zingasinthe mayiko, misika komanso zatsogolo la mayiko. Mukudziwa kale kuti Channel Africa idzakhala komweko kukubweretserani zokambirana zamkatinkati komanso akatswiri kusanthula zomwe zili zofunikira. Msonkhano wa G20 kuyambira pa 22 pakana pa 23 mwezi wa Novembala monga momwe ukuchitikira. Karani cheru ku Channel Africa, kalilole wa Africa.
Get set and Be ready to go. On the Move with Palesa Tau and Benjamin Mushatama.
It's time for our gender-based violence focus here on Channel Africa and on The Move. A really amazing campaign that we've had throughout the of 2025 here at the SABC, where we're focusing on something that is extremely important. I'm actually looking at my script right now as I'm speaking about this gender-based violence focus, and I see so many purple profile pictures. I know we had that conversation last week with Women for Change, speaking about a campaign that's been happening in South Africa where everyone is changing their profiles purple and everyone is standing against gender-based violence. At least that's what's happening on my profiles. But we're looking at a different level. How exactly do we protect those at risk when the systems meant to help us so often fall short? And that's the question that Leonara Tima asked herself after losing a loved one to gender-based violence. She created an app that is more like an AI aunt that's designed to support survivors of abuse. It's more than a chatbot. Zuzi listens without judgment. It guides users through legal and emotional steps after gender-based violence and also helps them store evidence securely. We're speaking about this particular app, exploring how innovation meets trauma and what it really means to create safety in the digital age. Leonora, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, sometimes we focus so much on the pain that we feel after something so tragic happened. Losing a loved one to violence is not an easy thing. And we speak a lot about these conversations here to chat about, the survivors or those who are left behind after losing a loved one or after you are close to a victim of gender-based violence. Isn't something that's easy at all to do. In fact, the trauma trickles down even to the lowest people or, those who are connected to victims of abuse. I don't know how open you are to speak a little bit about the story, but more so, the feelings that you felt that led you to creating this particular app.
Sure, 100%. So in December of 2020, the father of my children, their family lost a 19-year-old to gender-based violence, and she was 9 months pregnant at the time when she passed. And I think what stood out for me in the days and weeks afterwards was how inaccessible our systems are often when, especially you're dealing with trauma and all of those kind of things, but also how normalized this is within the country we live in. Like, her story was never told, it wasn't newsworthy because it is so commonplace that these stories happen in our society. But then also afterwards, the DNA backlog at the time was so bad. So for the family, like trying to bury their child and all of those kind of things were very complicated. So I really wanted to look and see how tech could be used to provide a safe space for people looking to access help, justice, services after a situation of gender-based violence.
Your story is one that's very common in the context of South Africa and, of course, all across the world. In fact, this weekend I was on my social media and I heard a story that's very, very similar to yours. A young woman who lost her sister to gender-based violence as well. And she went to the place where the body of her sister was dumped to go pick up the rubbish. So sort of a ritual that she does every year. And like you said, not every story is newsworthy. Some are underreported. And many victims of gender-based violence don't actually get the justice that they seek. So when you put that, I don't know if you are in any way working or you work within the AI sector, or you work within the technology sector, and how you came up with the fact that, okay, how do I put this in a digital form, and what is it that's actually needed? Because the police stations are there, sometimes social workers are there, but the accessibility is a little bit of a problem.
Sure. So what we did was, first of all, I went into communities all around Cape Town and spoke with over 800 survivors of gender-based violence and asked them, had they reported? If not, why not? What were the issues they were facing when they were trying to report? If they could report on their phone, what would this look like? Who would respond to it? What would they like to come from it? And from that, we built out our GRIT app, which is an emergency app. It is linked, it's a free app, it's data-free. It's linked with armed response. It has a panic button. You can store evidence on it. We're actually going to redeploy it now for 16 days with new functionalities within it. But then even with that running, and we respond to over 2,000 active panic situations a month, we have over 15,000 users on that app. What we still saw is that young people were still frustrated within the criminal justice system. Maybe someone was released on bail, or they just felt like their case wasn't taken seriously. It hadn't gone to court, whatever it was. So we went back to the same communities that we built this original app with and said, what's missing? What are we not seeing here? What services could we provide that would be helpful in this kind of space? Because what we saw was people were getting served with counter orders because they were posting on Facebook, and now we're accused of defamation. So then people told us, it'd be really helpful if we could have somewhere where we could go on technology that we already used that could guide us through the processes, that could tell us what was happening, that we could talk to without facing stigma and judgment. And that's where the idea of Zuzi came from. And generative AI chatbot, the persona that people wanted was this kind of ardent person. They didn't want a lawyer. They really didn't want a social worker, but they wanted more this like late 20s, early 30s, kind of cool aunt that was a safe space to discuss these kind of issues. And to be deployed on platforms people already used, like WhatsApp and Facebook.
I see. Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on in this app. Apologies. Let's speak a little bit more about this community, right? When you went back to the community and they say, yeah, we are trying to fight gender-based violence, but we're not winning. And of course, these are some of the things that were able to help you, create the app. But does the community itself then use the app? Have they engaged with the app? And have you seen a difference in how they relate to these conversations?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Look, it's complicated, right? Because technology historically and currently, I think, excludes marginalized and key population groups. So when we first started doing this work, it was exceptionally abstract, but we've been very intentional with building our footprint and going back to communities, showing communities what the tech that they helped us build looks like, asking them to criticize it, all of those kind of things. So, and what we've seen is with the first technology we deployed, the app, like we have a big user base on that currently. And we also have seen that corporates have started approaching us now to also use this technology. With the chatbot Zuzi, we've been testing her now for a year. We're about to deploy her publicly for 16 days as well. We had to be quite careful, though, because with AI, the potential of causing harm, and especially in communities that have been intentionally excluded from AI, is quite high. But we have people WhatsApping us every day asking, can they talk to Zuzi? They've heard about Zuzi. Where can they access Zuzi? So I do think that the signs that we're seeing is that people are actually really keen to engage with this type of tech.
All right, let's take a break, Leonora. We're going to go take a quick break and we'll come back. And I'd love to us to go through the app and how exactly it works, what's on there, what kind of services it provides, and how we interact with it. So stay with us on the lines. 20 minutes past 9 Central Africa time. We'll continue on our gender-based violence focus after this.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Deogratus Bwire, wewe kama mkurugenzi wa shirika la kutetea haki za binadamu kutoka kule Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Maandamano yameendelea kwa siku ya pili. Nini kinaendelea?
Kwanza mimi ningependa tusiliweke kama wafuasi wa upinzani. Kwa sababu kiukweli mimi nilipata kidogo kushuhudia watu waliokuwa wanapita barabarani hawakuwa kwa namna yoyote ile wamebeba bendera ya chama chochote cha upinzani.
Umezungumzia swala zima vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa vinapaswa kurekebishwa. Vitu hivyo ni nini?
Hiyo vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa tayari nimeshavisema huko. Najua kumekuwepo na mtiririko wa matukio mengi sana. Watu ambao wanakuwa wanapinga masuala kadha wa kadha ambayo yanaonekana kufanywa na vyombo vya dola kwenye mitandao au hata pia nje, wamekuwa wakichukuliwa hatua.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa Tau and Benjamin Mushatama.
We continue speaking to the founder and managing director of Gender Rights in Tech and the founder of an app known as Zuzi that supports the victims of gender-based violence, listens without judgment, guides through legal and emotional steps, and helps to store evidence. Leonara Tima continues this conversation with us. Leonara, let's speak about the app itself. I feel like this is just an outline of what the app can do, but on a practical level, what does it look like and what sort of services can one access on Zuzi?
Sure. So Zuzi is actually part of a bigger app. So I'm going to talk you through the bigger app, if that's okay. So the Grit app is available on the Play Store and Google Play. When you go in, you'll see a big panic button. It says help in the middle of it. If you press that, it's actually linked to a call center that is linked with armed response. So that is in cases of emergency. It's free and it's data free. And then within that, we're about to re-release. So it's coming out within the next 5 days. Zuzi is also there. So then you can press on chat with Zuzi, and then you can go in and you can talk to Zuzi about anything related to gender-based violence loosely. So she's trained to answer questions on the legal system, the criminal justice system, sexual reproductive health rights, sexual health, sex for pleasure, post-rape, but general questions related to sex. We find that teenagers often are very uncomfortable to talk about these things at home, so she's been trained quite extensively to talk about relationships. Access to abortion is something that we built in recently. And then also we're currently building out more on the sexual health aspect, especially in relationship to HIV and AIDS. And something else we're also building out at the moment is economic empowerment, because we found that a lot of people are coming in and asking questions about how they can upskill or achieve some sort of economic empowerment. And then the other thing we've trained extensively on now is tech-facilitated gender-based violence, because we find a lot of people are coming in also to ask for help with, image-based abuse and those kind of things, cyberbullying that we're seeing a growing trend of in South Africa. But then there's also a vault where you can store evidence. You can upload anything related to your case, and we store that for 10 years with the idea of, if you're in a current domestic violence situation, or maybe you're not ready to open a case yet, you can start taking your own power back and storing evidence that then you can use at a later point within the criminal justice system if you want to. Yeah, and that's essentially an overview.
You know, I'm very, very interested in the pointer of storing evidence, because especially now in the social media age, you spoke about it earlier, people go on social media and they out their perpetrators. This is the person that's abused me, this, that, and the other, and this is my story. And then the perpetrator, or the said perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, goes to their lawyers and say, this is defamation of character, or this case usually happens even way after the actual act or event has taken place, maybe a year, 2 years, even longer. And then you hear about the court case that's happened, especially, with some prominent figures, and they say, well, the case has been thrown out because there wasn't enough evidence. The perpetrator and those in support of them celebrate and say, you see, these particular women are liars. They lie on people. Why was the case thrown out? But evidence is a huge factor. But we also might not really understand what evidence actually is. So take me through this part in particular, because I'm really interested. How does Zuzi help with the storing of evidence? And what can be considered evidence that you can store away that can help you probably someday, even if it's not immediately, in court when you do decide to take your perpetrator through the justice system?
Sure, no, 100%. So that's exactly what we were looking at, is how to increase cell phone data in the chance of prosecution. So Zuzi will talk you through exactly what kind of evidence you can be collecting, whether it's voice notes, audios, narratives, all of those kind of things. And then she'll then guide you through like how to store it on the Grit app and how we store that data, but also who has access to it and all the data privacy and security things associated with that. The other thing that we're looking at, but this is very new and we don't even know if it's possible, is this whole idea of first reporter. So in South Africa, the first person you disclose your story to is often called to court as a witness. and whether AI can actually be used, like transcripts of conversations can be used in the future to contribute to this kind of evidence. But like I said, it's very new in terms of the thoughts behind this and whether it can be used in this way. But so Susie will talk you through very practically how to store this evidence, what it looks like, because that's exactly what we were seeing. We were seeing this trend of people that were frustrated within the criminal justice system, losing hope, posting online, and then being subpoenaed to court, which obviously you can imagine is so traumatizing.
Absolutely. Well, outside of the victims themselves, are there other people who can receive help from Zuzi? I know it's primarily for those who are victims of gender-based violence, victims of abuse, but you yourself created this as, I guess, a secondary victim after losing a loved one. Is that an opportunity open for secondary victims, those who've received secondary trauma from gender-based violence, to also participate and use this app?
Yeah, but I also think it's right, kids that have questions, not ID over 12 is what she's designed for, but who have questions about healthy relationships, about sex, about all of those kind of things that are quite uncomfortable to talk about. So it's not only for survivors of gender-based violence, but navigating what your rights look like, navigating what our systems are like, all of those kind of things. So I don't think it is solely for survivors. I also make sure that all my children have the app on my phone so that if they need help quickly, wherever they are, they also have access to that.
That is incredible. Well, we'll have to leave it there. Before we go, let us know where we can find out more information about this app and, of course, all the other apps that you spoke about that are in connection with this, but also just, help or support that is part of these conversations around gender-based violence.
Perfect. So our website is grit/gbv.org, and then the same for our social media handles online. So it's GRIT. And then our website, you can find all the information on where to access the apps and our WhatsApp line. And like I said, it's the Grit app on Google Play and on iOS.
Thank you so much, Leonora. Before we leave, I'd like to share my condolences with you for the loss of your loved ones. I know you're not the only one. So many people are losing loved ones to gender-based violence, and 2020 is still quite fresh. So I hope that you are healing, and hopefully the work that you're doing to help others is also part of your own healing journey.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Have a great day. That's Leonora Tima, founder and managing director of Gender Rights in Tech, but also the founder of this great app called Zuzi that is in support of gender-based violence and abuse survivors, but also in support of pretty much all people who'd like to find out more about abuse and the likes. But she's also a child rights, gender equality and anti-gender-based violence activist, speaking to us about this Zuzi app. It's 9:30 Central Africa time. Let's get our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Mosibu Dimakura with your latest sports news at the Sawa. We'll start with football news. ASEC Mimosas completed the job in style to top Group B and reach the semi-finals of the Total Energies CAF Women's Champions League with a 4-0 victory over Botswana's Gaborone United on Saturday. So that result now means ASEC Mimosas become the first Ivorian club to reach the Women's Champions League semi-finals and the fifth West African side to make the last four in the competition's history. Mimosas now turn their focus to the semi-finals, carrying the confidence of a landmark qualification and a forward line in clinical form. The title holders TP Mazembe, meanwhile, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, joined them in the last four after beating JKT Queens of Tanzania 4-1 to end second in the group on 6 points. Meanwhile, in a tense Group A finale at the 2025 CAF Women's Champions League over the weekend, the host side Masra secured a crucial 1-0 draw against Malian debutants, that is USFS Bamako, to advance to the semi-finals, finishing second behind the group leaders AS FAR of Morocco. The draw proved enough for the Egyptian side Masra to edge Bamako by a single point in the group standings, ensuring Masra's progression to the semi-finals alongside the unbeaten AS FAR, who topped the group. Meanwhile, the semi-finals will be taking place on Tuesday, where the winners of those semi-finals will progress to the final of the CAF Champions League to be played this weekend. On to cricket news now. South Africa's Proteas captain Themba Bavuma says his team outmaneuvered India on a challenging Kolkata pitch, pulling off one of the most improbable test victories in their history. So despite facing near certain defeat on the Eden Gardens surface, that is tailored for the hosts, Bavuma's side managed just 153 in their second innings, but then rallied to clinch a remarkable 30-run victory. Bavuma revealed that they weren't too surprised by the conditions, as they were fully aware of the instructions India had given the grounds staff.
I think the wicket that was prepared is what I understand what was asked on their side. Look, we've come here knowing that the wickets are going to be spinner friendly, similar to what we got in this game. So it didn't come as a surprise. Obviously, once you're out there in the heat of the moment, it's a different thing. And I think for a lot of our younger guys, it's an experience for them to take in.
Now, South Africa would have been anxious coming into the third day on 93 for the loss of 7 wickets, with Bavuma, the last recognised batter, still at the crease. He says all he had to do was to tell the team to not think far ahead.
Coming in this morning, I think my message to the guy was always to just try and play what's in front of you. Try not to have too many preconceived ideas, and unfortunately this morning it did kind of calm down a bit. Obviously there was still a bit of turn, but guys could Corbin and I could build a partnership. It would have been nice if Marco was still there this morning. But I think it was more a case of just play what's in front of you, keep your nerve, but importantly keep the belief that the result can still go our way.
Right, so we'll conclude with some tennis news now. Yannick Sinner ended a turbulent season ended a turbulent season in the best possible way on Sunday after seeing off Carlos Alcaraz in sets of 2, 7-6 and 7-5 to retain his ATP finals in front of a delighted fans in Turin. Now, the Italian Sinner brought the house down in Turin by winning the championship match. Tennis fans have wanted to see, adding also the prestigious year-ending tournament to his Australian Open, as well as his Wimbledon titles that he won earlier on this year. This is what he had to say about how tough that match was against his rival, Carlos Alcaraz of Spain.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I served very well. That's been a very tough match, obviously. At set point in the first set, was a very close match. Made a couple of double faults, but I tried to go for it, and I'm extremely happy. It's all part of the process, but finishing the season with this kind of moment, and especially here in Turin, it's amazing for me. And
all right, so that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories that you'd like to share with us, remember to send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Call us as well on +27 11714 4459. So the time has just gone 9:35 a.m. Central African time. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
África. Conhece o Ntivani?
Claro que sou eu.
Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma.
Eu amo música africana.
Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel Africa. Okay. Adivinha só, a Channel Africa quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel Africa está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Thank you so much, Musibudi, for that sports update. Let's get our latest in business.
business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa. Good morning. In our top story, real action is needed to help people who are fighting health battles like cancer. That's according to Head of Communications at Roche South Africa, Gugulethu Makhubo. She says the integration of artificial intelligence, telemedicine and digital health platforms not only saves lives, but also unlocks billions of dollars in economic value. Makhubo says when innovation meets partnership, lives can be both saved and protected.
Digital tools and smart health technology partnerships are the key to transforming healthcare in Africa, given the complexities of all the different markets and the constraints on resource. For example, through a partnership as well as digital tools, we can dramatically improve survival rates for diseases like breast cancer, as well as unlock billions in economic savings.
The Institute of Local Government Managers in South Africa has urged municipal managers to keep the Auditor General abreast of what is happening in their municipalities to avoid being issued with a certificate of debt. This after Auditor General Tsakani Maluleke exercised some of her new powers by forcing the Ngaka Mudiri Mulema District Municipal Manager in South Africa's Northwest Province to pay back almost $270,000. Municipal Manager Alan Losaba will have to pay the money from his own pocket due to an overpayment for water tank services rendered to the municipality by a service provider. This is the first time the Auditor General is issuing the certificate of debt since the Public Audit Act's extended powers came into effect in April 2019. Nkosiyezwe Vezi is a chairperson of the KwaZulu-Natal chapter of the Institute of Local Government Managers.
If they are encountering difficulties in collecting the money that the Auditor General has instructed them to collect, they must report these matters to the Auditor General and appraise the Auditor General of the difficulties that they are going through in implementing the recommendations. I am sure the Auditor General will not just go ahead and issue a certificate of debt on you, the municipal manager, if we have explained to them adequately what difficulties are encountering. Some municipal managers are finding it very difficult to implement these recommendations because of the political pressure under which we operate.
The board of Canada's Barrick Mining has raised the possibility of splitting the company into two separate entities, one focused on North America and the other on Africa and Asia. Sources say the split could also include the outright sale of Barrick's African assets, as well as of the Reko Diq mine in Pakistan, once the company has secured financing. In Mali, Barrick is looking to resolve a dispute with the African nation's military administration before selling the asset. Investors say that as one of the few gold mining companies with assets spanning multiple continents, Barrick's biggest risk has been mines in politically volatile regions. They had previously proposed that the company divide into one division with stable assets such as those in North America and another with riskier assets in Africa, Papua New Guinea and Pakistan. A new report has raised the alarm about the state of forest in the Congo Basin, the world's second largest rainforest. The Congo Basin spans more than 300 million hectares across 11 countries in Central Africa. The BBC's Matt McGrath has the details.
With much of the attention at COP30 focused on the Amazon, this report points out that the Congo Basin forests also face serious threats from commercial development and growing populations. Some 10% of trees have been chopped down since 1990. There's also concern that a warming climate is impacting the remaining forest's ability to soak up and retain carbon. Storing CO2 is a huge economic asset, the report says, worth over $1 trillion every year to the world. The authors are calling on COP30 to help the Congo Basin nations to protect their forests and get adequate compensation for keeping the carbon intact.
Japan's economy shrank almost 2% in the 3 months through September as a drop in exports in the face of U.S. tariffs resulted in the first contraction in 6 quarters. Government data showed that shipments from automakers in particular plummeted following a period of hiking exports before tariffs came into effect. Economists say the contraction most likely represents a temporary setback rather than the start of a recession. They say the contraction is largely due to one-time factors areas such as housing investment being affected by regulatory change, and that the trend still points to a gradual recovery over the next year or two. And now taking a look at indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,440 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's at 13 pula 66. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20. And in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 44. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 29 this morning. Russia, 80 rubles 78. In India, it's 88 rupees 65. China 7 yuan 9, and South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 6 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 75 to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,087, platinum at $1,552 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.89 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please do send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
No, 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 no. Oh, yeah. I'm in chains, you're in chains too. Our uniforms and you are uniforms too. I'm a prisoner, you're a prisoner too, Mr. Jailer. Oh, I have fears, you have fears too. I'll die, but you said will die too. Life is beautiful, don't you think so too, Mr. Jailer? I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let he who is without sin be the first to cast a stone, Mr. Jailer. Mr. Jailer, man, you suppress all my strategies. You oppress every part of me. What you don't know, you're a victim too, Mr. Jailer. Oh, you don't care about my point of view. If I die, another will work for you. So you treat me like a modern slave, Mr. Jailer. I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let he who is without sin be the first to cast a stone, Mr. Jailer. Mr. Jailer, man. You see, if you walking in the marketplace, down throw stones. Even if you do, you just might hit one of your own. Life is not about your policies all the time, so you better rearrange your philosophies and be good to your fellow man. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let he who is without sin be the first that cast the stone, Mr. Jailer. Oh, I'm talking to you, Jailer.
It's Asha with Jayla, beautiful one. It's 9:47 Central Africa time, speaking gender-based violence focus. Apps are everywhere these days. There's an app for absolutely everything. But why? Why is it that in a world where there is an app for everything and technology is so advanced that we're still lagging so far behind with justice and gender-based violence, but also access, right? Access, gender-based violence justice isn't just about court cases, prison, and that kind of thing, but it's also about support. And support, I think, is one of the biggest things that we're lacking when it comes to gender-based violence. I mean, justice is also largely lacking, but support of information, support of understanding, somewhere that you can go to speak about what you're going through, somewhere where you can go to access the information to receive the criminal justice that you want, because many people who are victims of any kind of abuse, any kind of crime, and once you are a survivor of that or a victim of it, whichever way that you look at this conversation, you realize that you want to ask the people around you, what am I supposed to do? And if you don't know what you're supposed to do, then you're already behind when it comes to the receiving of justice. So having a platform where you can ask, look, this is what's taken place and I don't know what I should be doing. The reason why so many court cases we see are thrown out of court, and then victims or survivors of abuse get trolled for a very long time, even on social media. And there's so many examples I've seen of this happening on social media. Victims and survivors getting trolled for years and years on end simply because their court cases were thrown out for the lack of evidence. And that is automatically then seen in public eye as, you were lying. That didn't happen and these things didn't happen to you. So having a place where you can go to really access that information, to know that, hey, to build evidence, I know this has been months ago. I know this has been a year. I know that's been 10 years ago when this happened to you. You still deserve the justice that you have to get. And this is how you can store evidence. This is how you can put together the evidence that can help you in a court case so that your criminal justice can be received. But more so, it is the information that young people can go and get on their sexual health, on the questions they can't ask in their family, the questions that they can't ask in their community, because those information, especially for young people, are the kinds of information that can help stop a future of gender-based violence. So let me know, where do you stand in this conversation? What do you think? At Channel Africa 1, let me know on X. Also, send me a WhatsApp text or a voice note on +27 63 406 9126.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
It's a mix of the old and the new. Rivik Jazz giving us a Sankomota remix. This one is titled Now or Never. We're wrapping up this hour of the show, but we can continue the conversations as usual on our socials at Channel Africa 1 on all social media platforms, except Facebook, where we are simply Channel Africa. We're going into debate time in the next hour of the show, and the debates always get so interesting. I think that this one is going to get quite heated because we're speaking about relationships, of course, but in the social media era, it seems like the way that people think of relationships has changed quite a bit. And today's debate topic is whether or not modern dating is too contractual. Are people taking a tit-for-tat approach to relationships? Is it only when you give me something that you will receive in return? Or has it always just been like that? Is that how relationships have always been? Has there always been that thing between men and women, and how who gives what, where, and how? And we're just seeing it come to light more because of social media. Where do you stand in this debate? I want you to take part because I know for sure that you have thoughts on this one. So our African View debate coming up in just a bit. But for now, once again, let's get our news update.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories, speculation is rife that the South African President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is preparing to step down, and eastern Ukraine people killed in Russian missile strikes. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. As South Africa hosts the G20 Leaders Summit this coming weekend, a meeting of powerful and most developed industries, there is now speculation that the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is preparing to step down after the summit. The African National Congress Party also held its National Executive Committee meeting over the weekend, with the country heading to local government elections next year. The African National Congress Veterans League President Snuki Zikalala explains.
The chairperson, of course, of the Veterans League in the province denied that categorically, and he condemned that. And of course, we as veterans, we condemn that because we know nothing about this. We came on 40% last year. That is why we have a GNU. And it's not comfortable. It's not ideal. And so we don't know whether do they want to destroy the ANC itself, because immediately when that happens, that's the end of the ANC. And so we won't agree to that proposal as the leadership of the Veterans League that we should go that route. We don't have to destabilize the country. We don't have to work towards destroying and finishing the African National Congress.
A high-ranking officer in the South African Police Service has started to testify before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. Major General Mary Mutsipe has held positions such as the Acting Divisional Commissioner for Detective Services and Components Head of the Serious and Violent Crime Division. She is known for her leadership in major investigations, including the break-in at the Chief Justice's office in 2017 and the SAPS initiatives on crime prevention and victim support. The Commission is investigating allegations that criminal syndicates have infiltrated law enforcement. The African Christian Democratic Party is questioning the arrival of the 153 Palestinian refugees in South Africa, citing potential breaches of immigration laws. The group arrived at the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg last week, with Minister of International Relations and Corporations Ronald Lamola reportedly intervening to allow them to enter the country. ACDP Deputy President Wayne Thring has lamented the country's lax immigration laws.
South Africa has very lax laws which allows for an individual who is seeking refugee status in South Africa to first come into the country, and once in the country they have 5 days or so to actually apply for refugee status, and depending on the circumstance that particular status can be given. I think that this is a bit of a loophole because in many other countries you have to apply before actually coming into the country, which allows the country to actually properly vet you. But in South Africa, criminals from anywhere, and I'm not necessarily referring to the Palestinians, but criminals can actually come into South Africa and then apply for refugee status.
The UN humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher says his team needs urgent access to the devastated Sudanese city of Al Fashir to help civilians still stranded there. He says that the number of people leaving the city has been lower than expected and is having tough conversations with the paramilitary rapid support forces now controlling the city to let in aid. Fletcher is on a visit to the Darfur region, which he describes as the current epicenter of global inhumanity.
We want to get our investigation teams in urgently, and that's been part of the reason for me being here, is to negotiate the access for our teams. And of course, we want to get those life-saving aid convoys into Al Fashir. We want to see the UN flag and our humanitarian partners inside Al Fashir responding as best we can to the needs of the survivors.
And lastly, the authorities in eastern Ukraine say 3 people have been killed in Russian missile strikes in the Kharkiv region. They say 10 others were wounded in a nighttime attack. The latest violence comes as President Volodymyr Zelensky is due to hold talks with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron in Paris. The BBC's Hugh Schofield.
President Zelensky is on a short European tour which took in Athens on Sunday and moves on to Madrid tomorrow. In Paris, he'll meet defence industry chiefs to look at French military aid to Ukraine and visit the nascent headquarters of a putative multinational force that could help one day to oversee a ceasefire with Russia. Then there'll be a working lunch with President Macron. President Zelensky wants to push the Europeans to use frozen Russian assets to extend him more loans. But there's resistance from Belgium, where the assets are based.
Recapping on your top stories, as South Africa hosts the G20 Leaders Summit this coming weekend, a meeting of powerful and most developed industries, there is now speculation that the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is preparing to step down after the summit. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, The African Perspective.
We're in the second hour. This is On the Move right here on Channel Africa. Thank you so much for staying with us and having the conversations of the day. We're going into our African View debate. Now, I'm going to slow you down a little bit. Hang on. I know this can get heated, especially with the conversation we're having today. And the question is modern dating too contractual? But before you get ahead of yourself, I know for many of us and the conversations that we've seen going on online, it almost seems like this should be a man versus woman conversation. Men are not ATMs. Why are women demanding money? What do you bring to the table? This actually goes deeper than that. This conversation isn't just about that. But if you actually delve deeper in conversations about relationships that we're having today, it also has to do with this is what I expect from a relationship. This is the communication that I expect in a relationship. This is the emotional labor or the physical labor that I'm willing to give or I would like to get in a relationship. This is how exclusive I want a relationship to be. It almost feels like we're looking for perfection in these relationships, and we have a list of things outside of money because it is part of this conversation, but I wanted to put it aside because it feels like sometimes we concentrate too much on the money aspect of how contractual a relationship can be, but there's so much more that we're wanting. The kind of effort you want, the kind of birthday surprises they have to be, the kind of communication you expect, and you're like, I will not accept anything less if this is not it. Is modern dating too contractual is a debate that we're having today. Please do join us. I know that you are riled up to speak about this. It's a debate that never goes unchecked there on the socials and anywhere else in society as well, and that's where we're going in this hour of the show. Do join us at Channel Africa 1. We're streaming live with the two guests who'll be debating this issue, so go there quickly and join us if you'd like to see them actively and physically debate this conversation. We are Channel Africa on Facebook and we are Channel Africa 1 on YouTube, where our live streams are going on.
With gratitude for the voices, the rhythm, and the dreams that unite us all.
Roho ya Afrika inaishi katika kila hadithi tunayosimulia.
Each new day is a gift, a reminder to pause, to breathe, and to give thanks for the laughter we share and the journeys we take and the stories that shape who we are.
Cada nascer do sol, lembre-te algo pelo qual ser grato.
La vie est un voyage, parcourons-la avec gratitude.
Channel Africa, celebrate the beauty of life with gratitude for the voices, the rhythms, and the dreams that unite us all. This is Africa with Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Yeah, you know it. Lelo jezo walishia gimi eline punga lako putumalo yako kushoti keli nika mahora mabili kamele sfuben sako angoba unempatho kunhlanga zimuka noma uyadali ngicela teleport dali enhlizweni yakho zofika maduze phakathi kwamabili u12 akulaleki lathi ngiphuza ikofle lathe enhlizweni yakho zofika maduze bayadela laba babonayo nsuku zonke mihla yonke
mama seringi qinile phela ngawe ngaphopa idayisi lirolu seed ngapho baba njengeqiniso malavu chilies ngifuna ukubamela ubuhlungu khona ngifuna ukuhlala kwi-passenger seat with the roof gone when udlala i-all-star I got Jimmy Choose on True Scott mina nawe shisa njenge-loose you say your ex used to play you like a good song.
This is Nomfundo Mo featuring Black Diamond, Indie Zamshini. Just after the break, we go into the African View.
Gratitude begins with a story. Find yours on Channel Africa. Now streaming on our new website and mobile app. Benjamin Mushatama and Palesa Tau on the move.
T's and C's apply. We hear that so often when we're listening to ads on the television or anything that has to do with something that's being promoted, the terms and conditions that apply. But it seems like we're hearing it more often when it comes to relationships as well. The terms and conditions that are coming up with relationships. I'm not sure if it's a new thing, but it's definitely something that's being spotlighted with the rise of social media. Many people are arguing that dating now resembles a series of terms and conditions. Agreements about effort, agreements about communication, exclusivity, emotional labor, outlined with the precision of a contract. Let's not forget decisions about money. Money is also in there, and one that's spoken about very, very often. Others say that this structure simply reflects clarity, autonomy, and more honest approach to relationships. That's what we're looking at in today's African View debate. Whether or not modern dating has become overly transactional, shaped by checklists and deal breakers, or whether these provide necessary boundaries in a fast-paced, digitally driven culture. Joining us today is Dr. William Baloyi, who's a human rights activist and social commentator. We're also joined by Mogale Molala, who is a life coach, debating today's topic: is modern dating too contractual? Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning to you and to your
Good
viewers.
morning.
And it's indeed an honor.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Dr. Baloyi. Let's hear your thoughts. I want to find out where you stand in today's debate. Is dating becoming too contractual? What is your opening statement?
It's indeed a great honor and a great privilege to be here with you, particularly specifically because, in modern day, you have to discuss these issues that we go through as a general public and as the followers of this great channel that you guys always bring to us. Do I agree with this? No, I am against it. I believe that relationships have always been transactional with regards to the times that we've been using and all of that. But the only change that has changed is the fact that we are now using liquid cash. You'd remember in the olden days, or there's a say that says, he who feeds you controls you. And they've always been about who had more cows at that particular point in time, who had more capacity and the ability to feed those that were around him. So as a man in my family, I cannot now then complain that it has become too transactional, but it's just that we now use liquid cash. But even in the olden days, you had to have the capacity to can be able to provide, whether it be by having your small, little garden in your house, having a bit of cows that will be able so that you are able to provide for your family. And that also being maybe making sure that the family of where your wife comes from also gets something in between. So we've always been transactional. I cannot come here today and say maybe it's overly transactional. It's just that with the economy and the inflation rate and everything that we are faced with, it now looks like it's there, but it's actually not there. We've always been transactional.
All right, let's come to you, Mogale. Give me your opening statements on where you stand in this conversation. Is modern dating too contractual?
Okay, firstly, I'm one person who likes to simplify things, all right? And one is, firstly, let me greet the listeners. I'm heated now. I just want to go in it. Let me greet the wonderful listeners of Channel Africa and to Dr. William Baloyi. So I'm one person who likes to simplify things. So it's very important to understand what a contractual relationship is, right? And that is a legal binding agreement between two or more parties. So we can't classify modern dating as that. Rather, we can argue Dr. Baloyi's point of saying relationships are now transactional, right? Which then that will be a different argument altogether. So that is why it's important for me to clarify that. And my stance on it is there is no way on earth we can start now arguing whether they're contractual or not. And I'll give you more reasons as we go on this topic and paint a picture that you will clarify to you, as well as explaining particular context that you realize that there is no way on earth we can classify it as being contractual or it being transactional, given what transactional means and given what contractual means. I think those are the key words that we'll be arguing today.
Okay, so I suppose in your light, you're going to be arguing the fact of the transactionality of relationships rather than moving away from the term contractual?
Yes.
Okay, I see. All right. Let me come back to you, Dr. Baloyi. You know, I loved how you started, because that's where we automatically go in a conversation like this. That's where people automatically go. Relationships, money. Everybody are saying that, oh, a man indoda must, oh, women, what do they bring to the table? There's always money involved. And I love the fact that you started off by touching on that point. But I also wanted to get deeper in this conversation in a sense where people are starting to maybe look for a kind of perfectionism from others. In fact, that's a question that I'm putting out to you in terms of the list that they have of what a partner must have. Outside of the money factor, do you think there is more contractual, like there's a more of a contractual thing that's going on in relationships where people are saying, well, the partner that I must have, they must communicate in a particular way. Some will even say they must have this kind of star sign. Some will say, yeah, they must be able to, cook and clean, even if you are a man. And without this, I am not going to be having a relationship or a marriage with this person. Get me deeper into that aspect of this particular debate today.
And I love how, Mr. Mulala breaks it down as he comes in. And thank you very much, maybe just for this opportunity once more. I mean, I've always said this when I come into these interactions, and I say there is what you see on social media, there is what you hear about, and there's what happens literally on the ground, right? I mean, growing up, you hear somebody say, I want a God-fearing man, he must be tall, he must be dark, he must be handsome. That's not what really happens on the actual ground, right? And I normally speak for what happens on the actual ground. And I said to you today that we cannot say it's transactional or it's contractual per se, if it does not. I love the fact that he says it's an agreement between two parties or more. But now, in our sense, it's not something that has been put down to say that he must be tall, he must communicate this way, he must do all of this. All I'm saying is, without moving from the topic, is the fact that as a man, you cannot negotiate power. And that has got nothing to do with the fact that your wife is working. That has got nothing to do with masculinity and being toxic. There is certain things, according to creation, that as a man, you have been assigned and you've got an assignment of. And I cannot say that when they are saying I must pay school fees for my kids, it's transactional or it's contractual. When they're saying I must take care of my wife, regardless of whether she's employed or not, I am duty bound. So when I come onto any platform, I cannot come here to cry to say, but I paid for what, and I paid for this, and therefore it should be, I should be applauded for. I cannot applaud a fish for swimming. I cannot applaud a policeman for catching criminals. What is happening here, I've heard the topic and I'm for the topic, but I am saying that in my view, according to what I understand, there is nothing contractual, nor transactional when we are doing our part of making sure that that which is expected of us is delivered.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll come back to you, Mogale, to give us your thoughts or your response to what Dr. Baloyi has said. Is modern dating too contractual? Is the question we're asking you. We're about to put up our On the Move poll, and you'll find out a little bit later how you can engage in this conversation.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See
Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land.
From Lagos to Cape Town,
Nairobi to Dakar,
we've got you covered
with the freshest news, music, and cultures.
So,
turn up the volume.
Feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation.
Channel Africa,
the African perspective.
Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
It's the debate of the day on the African View. Is modern dating too contractual? It's getting heated indeed. Let us know what you think about this one. Are we saying that without this kind of communication, without this kind of money, and if you don't, have the necessary boundaries, if you don't have black tags, then I am not going to date you. That's the conversation we're having today in the African View, and continuing this debate is Dr. William Baloyi, human rights activist and social commentator, and life coach Mogale Molala. Mogale, let's come to you. We heard from Dr. William Baloyi before we went on our break. Let's hear your response to some of the conversations he had. He's taking it from the male perspective, saying, I cannot complain about the things that are necessary for me to provide because it is what I'm here on earth to do. But I also posed the question about the other aspects of relationships that we have to look into outside of the money factor, those boundaries, those labels, those communications, maturity levels. Are we ticking boxes when it comes to the partners that we want to have?
Okay, it's interesting how Dr. Baloyi confuses a job description with a relationship. And I'm saying a job description because when you look at everything that he says is with regards to duties. So I cannot compliment a fish for swimming. I, as a man, can complain to pay fees and all of that, right? And that is also not taking into account the modern day and society that we live in, which is one, the idea that because of the past traumas and the past injustices against women, there are certain clauses and rules, if not laws, that make it difficult for men to be in a particular stage, in a particular place in society. So what does that mean or look like in dating? This looks like there's a high percent chance that a woman will be earning more than a man. Bear in mind that right now, we also agree to the fact that there are a lot of women who are in the same position as men, but are earning less, right? But that is slowly changing. And the new South Africa that we need to prepare modern men for is that they'll reach a point where you'll not be able to pay for that school fees. They'll reach a point where you'll never pay for that house. So what does that mean and look like, right? So this means, like, as we said, that relationships can be transitional, or they are transitional. And what do I mean by transitional? This can refer to an exchange of emotional support, intimacy, and other form of emotional labor. It's an unspoken agreement, right? So this means that if I cannot compensate for the fees, I can compensate to other things, right? So this whole notion of gender roles and gender society in the modern day society cannot hold. Why they cannot hold? Because we live in an evolution where now women are more empowered, more educated, and they are equal to the task. So what does that look like? It simply means that more women are being empowered and more women are being hired in high positions. So therefore, there are certain things that as men we cannot compensate for. Therefore, that is why it's important that we need to look at relationships in a new way. That now that I cannot afford to pay fees doesn't make me less of a man.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I cannot afford to swim, as Dr. Baloyi is saying, does not make me less of a fish, right? So these are things that we need to engage on now. That this thing of the notion of Christianity of saying this is what a man is in the modern day, that's not how a man is. Mm-hmm. In reality, a lot of men are unemployed now. In reality, a lot of men are suffering in relationships because they cannot deal with a modern woman now, an empowered woman. And that's a conversation we need to have. And that's the whole notion of this is what you need to do and this is what I need to do cannot hold water in a modern day society.
All right, Dr. Baloyi, let's bring it back to you. Mogale is saying, hey, this is modern dating after all, and what the world looks like now cannot be simply followed by what ancient scriptures or what things used to happen, or the way things that used to happen traditionally. So we do need to move with the times as things are more modern. What do you say to that? Do you think, looking at the landscape of today, we need to sort of turn down our expectations of either the gender roles or even just the checklists that we have when looking for a particular partner?
For you to dismantle families in South Africa, you do that thing of saying that they are more contractual, let us share roles and all of that. And I agree with some of, or rather, I've heard some of the things that he has said. But what I'm trying to say is, he who agrees to enter into marriage or relationship realizes the fact that they are duty bound of certain things. And I've heard what he is aligned and alluded and all of that. But I do not believe, as the topic says, that they are more contractual. It's just that you live in a society where now majority of the things are all over the place. And like I said, you also have to maybe acknowledge the presence of social media there and there. You also have to acknowledge the fact that in the previous olden days, majority of our people were not exposed to things like television, radio, and all of that. It was only few families with that. So now the communication is a bit all over the place. But what I'm saying is that there are certain things in the relationship that is expected of you, and not that it's more contractual in the modern day. It's just that majority of us are then now exposed to a certain information. But I'm saying, if you see the culture of how things are happening in South Africa right now, it is because of the fact that maybe some of us did not want to take to our responsibilities. As a result, maybe that's why you see the kind of children that we have raised in the past 25 years in South Africa. And that is because of the ability where majority of us were absent, where our presence was required. I cannot complain about anything when it comes to relationships. When I go in there, I go there fully aware of what I'm entering myself into, and without maybe playing any gender roles or maybe being a sexist about it. As a man, I know what is expected of me. Therefore, I can never complain when I'm in there. When you choose your partner, you must be aware of the things that go in there. But to say it is more contractual, I don't believe that. I just believe that our people are more exposed of late, and them being more exposed, they know more. But it has nothing to do with it being contractual. Thank you, man.
All right, Mokhale, for your closing statements, Dr. Baloy is saying, look, things have always been this way. Things have always been contractual. And if we want to move away from that, we're also breaking down the systems of family here in our societies. And maybe this is why we are having a lot of social breakdowns in our society. For your closing statement, you may respond to this, but also give us a breakdown of your closing.
William reminds me of one story. So once upon a time, I had a neighbor whom we admired. I was born in a family where I was raised by a single mother. And our next door neighbor, it was a dynamic that William Baloy speaks about. And in that family dynamic, it was only when now the woman retired that we figured that the man was younger. That's point number one. It was only in that position that we started to see, oh, this one is younger, and this one actually was any more than the other one. Because then after that, we started to hear, no, it was mom paying the whole school fees the entire time. It was mom doing this, it was mom doing that, right? So what does that mean? This simply means that in a modern day society, taking into account everything that William said, the reality is things have evolved and things have changed. This whole notion of I'm a man is one thing that led to men commit suicide because of the pressure that they put on themselves. That me as a man, me as that, right? We need to acknowledge that tables have changed and we need to adapt to that. And the more we adapt to that, the better we're going to raise men, because we will then know the kind of challenges that they're going to face in school. We then know the kind of implications, therefore, that will come out. So with that being said, my closing statement is simple. Men need to realize that the whole notion of I'm a man, I'm this, I'm that, will lead them to the grave. And will start to adapt to new ways of doing things and new ways of supporting their families, not only financially, but emotionally and in other ways in which they can raise better men and better kids. With that being said, I rest my case.
All right, we'll leave it there, gentlemen. It was a good one, and thank you so much for to both of you for bringing forward your points on today's debate conversation. Is modern dating too contractual? We're asking you that one as well on our On the Move poll. Are you saying yes, it's totally transactional? Is the first option we're giving you? Is it just smart boundaries, or is it a bit
No, thanks a lot
both?
for the platform as well.
Thank you so much to both of you for joining us today. That is Dr. William Baloyi, human rights activist and social commentator, and Mogale Molala, a life coach, debating this conversation today. It's 10:31 Central Africa time. Let's bring back Musibudi Makura for our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Palesa. Very good morning from the sports desk. We'll start here. So Zambia's assistant coach Peri Motapa acknowledged that his side picked up a few lessons from Bafana Bafana, whose cohesion was clear during Saturday's 3-1 friendly defeat at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium in the Eastern Cape province on Saturday. So South Africa controlled the match comfortably despite conceding a late goal after coach Hugo Bruce rotated the squad to test new combinations. Now, speaking after the game, Motapa admitted that the Chipolopolo team had been definitely outclassed on the day.
South Africa started on a high note, but we knew this is a good South African team. I think in the last 3-4 years, Hugo Bruce has built a good team with a lot of players, a pool of players to choose from. So whoever plays, I think he is coming to the party, and we knew it was not going to be easy. But for us as Zambia, I think we had about 4 or 5 debutants.
Now, Chipolopolo will face Angola on Tuesday in another friendly match, with Motapa hoping the team will have corrected most of the errors by then.
I should mention that I think we missed I'm just the standing coach. Our head coach, I think, is back at the hotel. Our executive Vice Chair Karusha Bwaria is back at the hotel, and some players. Some of them I should congratulate the boys because they had stomach upsets and severe fever. But they played in this game. It's not an excuse, but it's good that they did their best.
Onto this now, South Africa will be well represented at the CAF Awards in Rabat in Morocco on the 19th of November. That's upcoming Wednesday. Now, Talon Smith is up for the Young Player of the Year after starring at the Under-20 AFCON as well as signing for QPR in the championship out in England. Meanwhile, Ronan Williams is a finalist for the Men's Goalkeeper of the Year alongside Morocco's Bonu as well as Mohamedi. Meanwhile, Andile Dlamini is also in the running for the Women's Goalkeeper of the Year, as Mamelodi Sundowns are finalists for the Club of the Year. Those awards happening this coming Wednesday in Rabat, Morocco. Well, South Africa's Proteas captain Themba Bavuma says his team outmaneuvered India on a challenging Kolkata pitch, pulling off one of the most improbable test victories in recent history. So despite facing also near certain defeat at the Eden Gardens surface tailored for the host, Bavuma's side also managed to just make it to 153 in their second innings, but then rallied to clinch a remarkable 30-run victory. Bavuma revealed that they weren't surprised by the conditions, as they were fully aware that the instructions were sent to the ground staff by the Indian team with regards to what to do to that batting surface.
I think the wicket that was prepared is what I understand what was asked on their side. Look, we've come here knowing that the wickets are going to be spinner friendly, similar to what we got in this game. So it didn't come as a surprise. Obviously, once you're out there in the heat of the moment, it's a different thing. And I think for a lot of our younger guys, it's an experience for them to take in.
And finally, in golf news, an emotional Rory McIlroy paid tribute to Steve Ballatoris after eclipsing the Spaniard by clinching his 7th race to Dubai title, despite being beaten to the DP World Championship by Matt Fitzpatrick. Now, McIlroy moves past Ballatoris' tally of 6 and now sits one behind Colin Montgomery's record of winning the European Tour season long race 8 times. It also caps a year that McIlroy had already called his greatest ever after completing a career at Grand Slam by winning the Masters in April of this year. That followed a victory at Pebble Beach in February, the prestigious Players Championship in March, as well as the Irish Open in September. Well, it's 10:36 a.m. Central African Time. That's a wrap of the sporting news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with the final sports update for the morning in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Thank you so much, Musibudi. Let's move on and get once again our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and a very good morning to our listeners. Our top business story this hour: the Democratic Republic of Congo, which holds over 70% of the world's cobalt reserves, has unveiled its first 1,000 metric tons of traceable artisanal cobalt. This milestone marks a key step in formalizing a sector that employs an estimated 1.5 to 2 million people and supports millions more indirectly. Executive Director of the Southern Africa Resource Watch, Dr. Claude Kabemba, says although they appreciate this positive step of formalizing the sector, more clarity needs to be given on a number of questions, including the prices of the cobalt being sold by the artisanal miners.
We know that the labor of these artisanal miners are always undermined. They don't get what they deserve. And what is the value distribution structure from the site level to the export? So we are not very clear. While we appreciate this positive step of formalization, we still have this number of questions that needs to be clarified.
The collection of royalties in Africa rose by 14.2% in 2024 to $104.7 million. This is according to a report by the International Confederation of Societies of Authors and Composers, SISAC. SISAC says that while Africa remains the world's smallest collecting region, the rate of growth was more than 4 percentage points higher than any other market globally. It says music revenues increased by 10%, reaching nearly $93 million, while audiovisual income grew by 2.6% and literature by an exceptional 90.8%. The board of Canada's Barrick Mining has raised the possibility of splitting the company into two separate entities, one focused on North America and the other on Africa and Asia. Sources say the split could also include the outright sale of Barrick's African assets, as well as of the Reko Diq mine in Pakistan, once the company had secured financing. In Mali, Barrick is looking to resolve a dispute with the African nation's military administration before selling the asset. Investors say that as one of the few gold mining companies with assets spanning multiple continents, Barrick's biggest risk has been mines in politically volatile regions. They had previously proposed that the company divide into one division with stable assets such as those in North America and another with riskier assets in Africa, Papua New Guinea and Pakistan. Real action is needed to help people who are fighting health battles like cancer. That's according to the head of communications at Russia, South Africa, Gugulethu Makhubo. She says that the integration of artificial intelligence, telemedicine, and digital health platforms not only saves lives, but also unlocks billions of dollars in economic value. Makhubo says when innovation meets partnership, lives can be both saved and protected.
Digital tools and smart health technology partnerships are the key to transforming healthcare in Africa, given the complexities of all the different markets and the constraints on resource. For example, through a partnership as well as digital tools, we can dramatically improve survival rates for diseases like breast cancer, as well as unlock billions in economic savings.
Japan's economy shrank almost 2% in the 3 months through September as a drop in exports in the face of U.S. tariffs resulted in the first contraction in 6 quarters. Government data showed that shipments from automakers in particular plummeted following a period of hiking exports before tariffs came into effect. Economists say the contraction most likely represents a temporary setback rather than the start of a recession. They say the contraction is largely due to one-time factors such as housing investment being affected by regulatory change, and that the trend still points to a gradual recovery over the next year or two. And now taking a look at the indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,440 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 66. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20, and in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 44. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 29. Russia, 80 rubles 78. India, it's 88 rupees 65. China, 7 yuan 9, and South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 6 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,087 per ounce, platinum at $1,552 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.89 a barrel this morning. Those are your business news. I'll be back with our final look at the business news in the next hour. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Your life, your rhythm, your Africa. Channel Africa. Find it for free on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
My love is bigger than the ocean. On your skin like a lotion. Loving you is my devotion. Give you girl full potion. Oh my beautiful addiction. With a sweet vibration. The two of we is a vision. Anytime I slip your name I dimension. So tell me girl where you there. Just me I go let the fire blaze. Anytime you want your ways. Watch out the man them they grace. Hey man, tell me where you there. Girl I've been loving you for days. Anytime you wind up your waist, all I demand them the grace. Baby, I dey colo for your love. Colo, colo. I dey mad for your love. Baby, I dey colo, colo, I dey colo for your love. Colo, colo. I dey mad for your love. Baby, I dey colo, colo, your love, you know. Your love, you know. Your love, baby, I dey colo, colo, your love, you know. You know, your love, your love. Baby, I dey colo, colo, come give it to me, baby.
Platinums Nini sasa. Me I'm giving thanks
my boy, you well better. Nyuma kama funga utoneta. Kinavyo pepe kimweta. Oh na na. Body sanyonga makiliti. Odi na gonga za mendichi. Usinichomeka kidonda na spiriti. Mimi yonge taumia. Baby, you got me falling in love. Oh love. Oh in love. And Mona Lisa, my teaser. Hope you might be reason your body give me fever. I done the shiver, hold me tight. One in my
Baby, I dey colo for your love. I dey mad for your love. Baby, I dey colo for your love. I dey mad for your love. Baby, I dey colo. Your love, 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 your love. Come give it to me, baby.
It's Pata Ranking and Diamond Platinums. Kolo Kolo is the name of this one. It's 10:46 Central Africa time. We have that debate on our On the Move poll. Do you think modern dating is becoming a real life contract with clauses of effort, communication, emotional labor, and exclusivity? That's the question we're asking you on today's On the Move poll. Head on over there at Channel Africa 1 on X. The options we give you there are yes, it's totally transactional. Well, they're just smart boundaries, so it's a good thing that we're getting more contractual in a sense, and the last option is it's a bit of both, and I would agree with that. I think it's important to be able to know what you want, but also to be stern in what you want. I think it's one thing to be completely loose with all your boundaries and say, I'm just looking for someone, I'm just looking for a man, I'm just looking for a woman, I'm just looking for any person who wants to be with me. That's not it, is it? You do actually need to have some sort of terms and conditions, but how far you take them is where the balance is. But let us know. It's up to you to find out where you stand in today's African View debate. And I like where the guests started, right? They started exactly where most of us would like to start in a conversation like this. We all want to start with money, because every time we mention contracts, the first thing we think about is money. But that also makes me realize, do people actually know and understand what their partners actually want and need if you put the money factor aside? I mean, you might know that, my partner likes to go on holiday. My partner wants a girlfriend or, wife allowance. My partner this, that, the other. But all of it pertains to money. And then the debate continues to go, people are not ATMs. What do you bring to the table? But what is it that you actually bring to the table? Like, do you communicate well? And do you know the kind of communication that your partner needs? What are your partner's love languages and what are yours? Are you guys giving each other the things that you actually need? And when you thought about the checklist of what you needed in your partner, did you actually consider the things that would be necessary for your relationship to thrive, the boundaries that you should be having? Is there somewhere there in your list of things that you're looking for a partner that, I want a partner who has boundaries with their family members? Otherwise, that might be quite problematic if you guys decide to get married, right? If your partner doesn't have boundaries with their family members. So if you put money aside, do we actually know what our partners want and need? And do we actually consider those in the things that we want when we are actually looking for a partner? So maybe it should be contractual. Maybe we should think about what goes in the contract, but we should think a little bit outside the boundaries of money and actually what helps a relationship to thrive. Well, let us know. We're not just on that On the Move poll. We can also hear your voice and your texts on our WhatsApp number. It's +27 63 9126.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. musicians. Remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Benjamin Mushatama and Palesa Tau on the move.
This is Atelia More featuring Surprise Nene Kanye. Now it's 10:55 Central Africa time. We're continuing that conversation in today's debate. Is modern dating more contractual? And I would say, what is modern dating, guys? What is modern dating? Is it just because we now know more, or we have a little bit more insight into people's relationships? Because this is what surprises me, right? We go back, and I also like what one of our guests says, Mokhale says, like, yeah, we asked all the wrong questions back in the day, right? We had assumptions. We only assumed what was going on in relationships. We only assumed what was happening in people's lives because it wasn't for all of us to consume. And one day you find out when you're older that, hang on, it was my mother, it was the neighbor's the neighbor's mother, or the woman there, that was actually taking care of the family all along. I just assumed it was another way because that's what tradition prescribes, that's what religion prescribes, but it actually hasn't been that way for a long time. And now that we have social media, we're getting insight. We're saying, hey, this is what's happening in your guys' relationship. Hey, people are putting story times out there. Let me tell you what's happening in my life. And now that we have more insight, we're like, yeah, we're upset when people are saying, yeah, this is my criteria when it comes to dating. And so I will not accept anything else. And all the people in the comment section, yeah, you are so superficial. Why is your criteria so extensive? Yeah, you're never going to find that person. And that's what I see a lot. You're never going to find that person. They don't exist. You're going to be stuck with us, the tabos in the township, because your criteria is too high. And that's what people are saying to each other. But even if relationships are more contractual, or as Mokhale Molala says, transactional, even if relationships are more transactional, isn't it so that if you go into a business transaction, you agree to be in that transaction? And so you can only get into a contract with someone who agrees to be in a contract with you. There are 2 signatures or more, but all of those signatures are of people who agree to the terms and conditions of that contract. So why are we worried? Why are we worried that relationships are getting more contractual? Because if someone has this extensive criteria and somebody else agrees to date them and they say, hey, this is my criteria, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the other person says, yeah, I see your terms. These are my terms, but I agree in getting in a contract to you. Why are the rest of us bothered? Why are the rest of us bothered in what makes other people's relationships or criteria thrive? Because as long as the people who are in that relationship together, whether it's 2 or more people, whatever the criteria of their relationship is, as long as everyone there has consented and wants to be in the relationship, you are also more than welcome to set up your own contract. You're also more than welcome to set up your own 10-step program on what you want in your man or woman or in the partner that you want, and that person will have to agree to your contract. We are bothered too much about what other people are doing with their lives because we also have our own criteria that we are struggling with in our own lives. But anyway, that's just my opinion. You can have yours on the move poll, but not just by ticking an option of the poll today. There's a comment section there, so comment under our poll and let us know what your thoughts are on our WhatsApp number. I gave you that one earlier. It's +27 63406 9126. And of course, on our live stream on Facebook, we are Channel Africa, streaming live throughout the show, streaming live on YouTube as well, Channel Africa 1. And there's a beautiful comment section there as well. As you see me in studio, you can let me know where you're tuned into Channel Africa from today, and of course what your thoughts are on the conversations of the day. We're moving into the next hour of the show. More conversations on the other side of our news update.
Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. The G20 Summit through African eyes, live updates, and expert voices only on Channel Africa. SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories. 2 days of high-level meeting on the evolving humanitarian situation in the regions get underway in southern Africa. And eastern Ukraine, people killed in Russian missile strike. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. The Southern African Red Cross Societies convenes for 2 days from today in Luanda, Angola, for a high-level meeting aimed at assessing the evolving humanitarian situation in the region. The discussions will place a strong focus on Zambia and Malawi, the two countries which are continuing to receive refugees fleeing instability in neighboring states. Zambia is home to over 150,000 refugees, mainly displaced from the DRC, Burundi and the Sahel. Malawi's Zalega refugee camp, which was originally intended to host 12,000 people, has 60,000 refugees. The Secretary General of the Angola Red Cross Society, Felicia Saraiva, explains.
Okay, we will discuss our partnership between the national societies of Southern Africa and of course also the humanitarian situation in all the 10 countries that we will be represented in this meeting. We have here also in Angola the same situation, and because of the situation on the other countries, humanitarian situation, we receive a lot of refugees in our country, and mostly on the Lunda North, and of course this is affecting our humanitarian situation on the zone.
The high-ranking officer in the South African Police Service is struggling to explain her role in the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu's disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. Major General Mary Motsepe is testifying before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. She held positions such as the Acting Divisional Commissioner for Detective Services and Components Head of the Serious and Violent Crime Division. The commission is investigating allegations that criminal syndicates have infiltrated law enforcement in the country. Motsepe says she was informed that the 121 PKTT dockets were brought to the head office for auditing.
So when you audit docket, you just want to check whether the very same charge appears on the list, which is on the printout, which you get from the case administration system. You check whether the complainant is the same, and then we have to do it through the right way of doing docket audit. You must audit with the system in front of you to check whether the charges relate with the charges which are captured in the system.
Political parties represented in the South African Parliament are questioning the arrival of the 153 Palestinians at the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg last week. Their presence in the country has sparked questions about whether proper immigration procedures have been followed. The African Christian Democratic Party has accused the government of unlawfully intervening to allow the group into the country. The party has also argued that ministers have treated international issues with greater urgency than crises that vulnerable local communities are facing, especially in crime-ridden areas. The ACDP Deputy President, Wayne Thring, explains.
We understand that Mr. Ronald Lamola and DIRCO Director General, Mr. Zain Dango, intervened, allowing the Palestinians to enter South Africa seemingly in breach of our immigration laws. Surprisingly, some ministers are quick to respond to Palestinian issues, but slow to respond to key service delivery issues of ordinary South Africans, and slow to respond to intervene on the Cape Flats and Khayelitsha, Langa and Westbury, Wentworth and Phoenix, Kwamashu areas, where our young men are gunned down on a daily basis.
The UN humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher says his team needs urgent access to the devastated Sudanese city of Al Fashir to assist civilians still stranded there. He says the number of people leaving the city has been lower than expected, and he's having tough conversations with the paramilitary rapid support forces who are now controlling the city to let in aid. Fletcher is on a visit to the Darfur region, which he describes as the current epicenter of global inhumanity.
We want to get our investigation teams in urgently, and that's been part of the reason for me being here, is to negotiate the access for our teams. And of course, we want to get those life-saving aid convoys into Al Fashir. We want to see the UN flag and our humanitarian partners inside Al Fashir responding as best we can to the needs of the survivors.
Lastly, authorities in eastern Ukraine say 3 people have been killed in Russian missile strikes in the Kharkiv region. They say 10 others were wounded in a nighttime attack. The latest violence comes as President Volodymyr Zelensky is due to hold talks with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron in Paris. The BBC's Hugh Schofield.
President Zelensky is on a short European tour which took in Athens on Sunday and moves on to Madrid tomorrow. In Paris, he'll meet defence industry chiefs to look at French military aid to Ukraine and visit the nascent headquarters of a putative multinational force that could help one day to oversee a ceasefire with Russia. Then there'll be a working lunch with President Macron. President Zelensky wants to push the Europeans to use frozen Russian assets to extend him more loans. But there's resistance from Belgium, where the assets are based.
Recapping on your top stories, the Southern African Red Cross Society has convened for 2 days from today in Luanda, Angola, for a high-level meeting aimed at assessing the evolving humanitarian situation in the region. The discussion will place a strong focus on Zambia and Malawi, the 2 countries which are continuing to receive refugees fleeing instability in neighboring states. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
It's the final hour 3 of 3. This is On the Move. My name is Palesa Tau, and I'm riding solo today without Benjamin. Kind of a little sad, but I've been happy to spend the past 2 hours with you, and I'm spending yet another hour with you as we go into the conversations of the day. So come on in. There's so many ways to engage with us. So we are at Channel Africa 1 on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, so everywhere pretty much, as well as on YouTube, where we are streaming live, so you get to see me and hang out with me here in studio. Yes, there's an empty seat where Benjamin is supposed to sit, so you are welcome to come and sit over there and chat with me. And of course, you can do that as well on our live stream on Facebook as well. That is simply Channel Africa. It's the festive season. I know Ben says I'm a little early to say it's the festive season, but I can start feeling it in the air, man. And I'm starting to see the invites coming in because the weekends are getting busier and busier. The events are happening every weekend now. Trust me, it's the festive season. When I say it's the festive season, trust me, things are starting to happen. But what happens now with the festive season is that in 2 weeks you've been invited to a wedding. In 2 weeks after that, maybe you're taking a short vacation. And next week you're going on a little bit of an event that's going to have, all these people that you want to see and you'd like to impress. Then it's Christmas. Then it's New Year's Eve. You need an outfit for that and this for this. But also what we think about is, oh my goodness, how am I going to look? Because I'll be interacting with so many people. And now because I'm going to this wedding in 2 weeks, not me, you're going to this wedding in 2 weeks. You're going to this wedding in 2 weeks. You want to impress people. You haven't seen these people all year. Some you haven't seen even for years. And you want to look your best. So what you're doing is that you're putting a 2-week timer to losing weight so that you can fit into the exact dress or the exact suit you want to wear at that event. That's what you're doing. I know you are. It's okay. Don't deny it. Don't deny it. I know that's what you're doing. You're making sure you're going to lose just enough weight for this 2 weeks to look exactly how you want to look. And that's what happens as the holidays approaching. We want to look and have the goal that's not consistent, that's not long term, but just for that particular dress, just for this event. Is it healthy? Is it sustainable? That's the conversation we're having in this hour of the show. These short bursts of exercise, of nutrition, of wanting to look your best for a particular occasion, especially during the festive season. Is it something that you should be doing? Or should you be looking at a more longer, stable, well-being approach to your looks and not just through your holiday calendar? We're going into that conversation just after this.
Ulimwengu unatazama Johannesburg. Viongozi kutoka nchi zenye uchumi mkubwa zaidi duniani watakusanyika ili kufanya mazungumzo ambayo yanaongoza mataifa, masoko na mustakabali wa mataifa. Tayari unajua kwamba Channel Africa itakuwa pale pale ikikuletea mijadala, maarifa na uchambuzi ambao ni muhimu. Kongamano la G20 kuanzia tarehe 22 na 23 Novemba, mubashara kwa mtazamo wa Kiafrika. Endelea kusikiliza Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Nkhanza zokhudza amuna ndi azimayi kapena kuti gender based violence GBV zikuwononga mioyo komanso kuphwasula midzi. Zikuchitika m'manyumba, m'masukulu, malo ogwirira ntchito ndipo kwambiri mwakachetechete, koma sizikuyenera kupitirira. Mukazimva yankhulani. Ngati mwakhuzidwa funani chithandizo, chifukwa kusachita chilichonse sikuthandiza. Mverani kuma wireless onse 14 a SABC kuchokera lachitatu pa 23 mwezi uno wa Julai kuti mumve zokambirana, malangizo, masewero, zionesero za maphunziro ndi mafunso okhuza nkhanza za amuna ndi azimayi ndi akatswiri, anthu opulumuka ku nkhanzazi, kukhazikitsa lamulo komanso dziko lonse lokhuzidwa ndi nkhanzazi. Zonsezi pa wireless yomwe mumayikonda ya SABC. Imbirani pa nambala 0800 428 428 kuti munene za nkhanzazi kapena kupeza chithandizo. Nkhanza zokhuza amuna ndi azimayi zimatha ndi inu. Uthenga ukufikani kuchokera ku SABC.
Every voice matters. Every moment counts. Celebrate life with Channel Africa. The African perspective. Now in your pocket.
It's the festive season. Yes, it is the festive season already. I know you're like Ben saying, isn't it a little too early to start announcing the festive season? You know what happened? I was at the mall. And you know what I saw? Christmas trees and lights. Isn't that an indicator that it's the festive season? I went into a couple of shops and they're already promoting their Christmas things. Is that not an indicator that it's the festive season? I looked at a lineup of events happening in my area. This is Johannesburg recently. And there is like an event happening each and every day of the weekend. Is that not an indicator that the festive season is here? And when the festive season approaches, fitness often becomes a timed assignment. Now it's tied to upcoming gatherings. You have a wedding that you are invited to in 2 weeks, and there's a particular dress you want to wear because one person that's going to be at the wedding is someone you went to high school with. Do you want them to see you like that? Like how you are now? No, you don't. So you know what you're going to do? You're going to go to the gym just for 2 weeks. You're going to go on a fast. You're going to take a water fast for 2 weeks. Be your skinniest at that wedding so that they'll know when they go back to your other high school mates, they say, wow, did you see how incredible she looked at that wedding? That is amazing. I know that's what you're doing. The goal is no longer about consistency, but visible results before a date on the calendar. We're talking about how these short bursts of exercise or nutrition really support sustainable health and share a more sustainable and stable approach to well-being that is not dictated by your holiday calendar. Joining us on this one is Nokwetemba Danisa, a certified personal trainer at Virgin Active. Nokwetemba, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Palesa? And thank you for having me back.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming back. It's an important time to have you back, let me say, because it is true that the festive season is here. And many of us do this. When it's time for the festive season, we have invites on invites. As soon as you get that call or that email these days, or maybe even that WhatsApp message with that beautiful invite, when you open the message, it's a video of those two holding hands and they're walking to the sunset and they say, save the date, you have been invited. You're like, wow, let me look at my calendar. This is in 2 weeks. The first thing you think about is what you're going to wear. But then you look at your body in the mirror. It's like, yo, Batong, I was hoping not to have this little roll in my tummy before this 2 weeks, because what are people going to say? I need to look my best. How often do people do that? I know you're a personal trainer, right? And I'm sure people come to you and say, hey, Nokwetemba, I have an event happening in 2 weeks. There are people from my high school days that will be there and they have to see me looking my best. What do you say when people come to you and say, you have 2 weeks to make me look like a supermodel, honey?
Hey, Palisa. Us as personal trainers, we see business, we see money. Like, oh my God, more money is coming in, so
Yeah.
business is blooming, and we don't see the other factors. We look at you like, do you think it's really gonna be achievable in that 2 weeks period of time you need? The only thing I'm thinking about, I'm getting a new client, it's new money, so my budget is increasing. I'm getting to see what am I gonna do, but we don't see. Oh, we don't tell the clients that no, what you want right now is gonna hurt your body as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we approach the season where we feel pressured physically and emotionally, like we're going home, we're going on vacations, as you said, we got invited to parties, weddings,
Yeah.
and we just want to achieve that goal for the short period of time, of which it's not good and it's a bad habit for our bodies. I
Mhm.
mean, training, going to the gym, it's a lifestyle thing. Don't make it a 2 weeks habit thing because you're gonna make yourself hungry for what? And you're
Mm.
causing some damages there. You're making your body, you're punishing your body for some 2 weeks punishment or some 2 week vacation that you're gonna be on. Just let your body be. Allow
Yeah.
yourself to be you. Love yourself as you are. And tell yourself if you wanna start training now, use training for a consistent or a long period of time, not just a short holiday
Mm.
training session. But
No,
trust me, we love money. We accept it.
no, Kotemba, but we have our reasons. What do you mean? What is it for? Of course, I'm going to go to that wedding and I probably might have lost a little bit of money. I'll feel more confident. And then they're going to talk about me for another 2 years until we meet at another event. But you said to me, isn't exercise? Why could this be potentially harmful to my body?
Palisa, you feel pressured towards the end of the year. You want to see yourself changing fast, and then you take some things that are not good for your body without thinking because you saw someone using it on TikTok. You saw someone taking that tea, and you don't even know the reasons why they're taking that, but only
Mm.
that you saw that is going to be good for your stomach, it's going to make your belly fat goes away. You want to take it without getting more information about it, and it's going to give you that short period of good looking body or results
Yeah.
without thinking the much more further damage that it's doing in your body.
Let's speak
So
a little. Let's speak a
let's
little bit
just
about
think
that
about
damage,
it.
right? When people have this plan, this 2 week plan for the event, for the wedding, they usually do two particular things, right? They decrease
Yes.
their food intake, or they go on some sort of a fast, like as
Diet.
and what you said as well. They go on some kind of a diet or a fast, and they start taking maybe supplements or pills or teas that are saying slim tea, slim pill, and they start taking that. But at the same time, they put in really high intensity workout, probably more workout than they've done the entire year, so that they can lose weight rapidly. What happens to the body when, I mean, yeah, maybe they might achieve their goal of actually losing that weight for the event, but what happens to the body when we put these two things in combination, a rapid diet and rapid exercise at a short period of time?
Balisa, what happens to their bodies that they are killing themselves inside, and they decreasing the minimal amount of increasing their muscles. Because you see me as I have my flat stomach and I have my big quads and everything, and you follow me, you ask me, no, Temba, what are you taking? What are you using to make your things go this, to be bigger than this? And I don't tell you the much bigger reason behind ukuthi I've been training more consistently throughout the year. When you want to use that thing and train in a short period of time, and it's not even 2 weeks, it's less than 2 weeks that they push for. Trust me, Palisa, we tell them all the time that you want a flat stomach, you won't achieve it overnight. You just have to keep on doing it, making yourself, or dieting as what they call it. Eating healthy these days, we call it dieting. And then buying beggars out there, we call it now, we're just eating some crash.
Yeah.
Of which you don't have to limit yourself with eating or whatever you want to eat, but just look at what you eat and check the things you want to take as well for your body. Training hard, it's hard to train at the gym, trust me, because when you get there to me, I'm not gonna take it easy with you. I'm not gonna say let me give you some 4 kgs so that you can achieve your goal. I'm gonna want to push you. If I give you 4 kg today, tomorrow I wanna see you moving further to 6, the other day to 8, and not thinking that it's damaging your body, it's giving you some body aches, and you're not even telling me because you also want to what? You want goals. You're looking further
Yeah.
to getting those goals at the end of the day, not knowing it's engaging and endangering your body inside.
Yeah, well, okay, let's take a break, Nokwetemba. I think we are on a good start, but we need to look at the alternative as well, right? Beyond the festive season, beyond this calendar, how do we take a more sustainable approach? Maybe is it too bad to start now, even if you do have an event for 2 weeks, but what's the pace that you should be setting and the sustainability that you should have even after that event? We're chatting to Nokwetemba Danisa, certified personal trainer, about that short burst of exercise and diet just because you're getting ready for a festive season event. We'll continue after this.
Siyabangena manje. Vito iJabulani Nkolele imakota. Jabulani is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
All right, we're continuing this one. I know it's not the one that you want to hear because you do have an event in 2 weeks, and you are actually, actively trying to lose some weight so you can look fabulous at that event. But is there another way for you to look fabulous at that event, but also not hurt your body with the short-term diet and the short-term exercise that you're looking forward to? Nokwetemba Danisa continues this conversation with us. She's a certified personal trainer at Virgin Active. Nokwetemba, does this mean that I shouldn't start at all? Like, if I haven't been exercising, if I haven't been taking care of my nutrition, and now I have an event, just because I don't want to hurt my body, does it mean I shouldn't start at all? Or is there a way for me to start? Maybe I might not lose a lot of weight for the 2 weeks that are going on, but I should start a routine nonetheless. Should I start anyway?
You can start, Palesa. Like, you can start anytime if you want to train. It's your body. Listen to it, and training heals more than you being outside there. It also helps you with your emotions to control them. Trust me, if you can start training now, in that 2 week event you're going to be at, you'll be more confident. You'll be talking about it at that you joined a gym. That was the most successful goal you had this year for yourself, not also for outside things that you'll be doing, but for your body, that you are at the gym currently, and how is it going? They're going to want to hear that as well, that how is it going for you? Is it helping? How does it help? And you can just tell them as well that it also helps me control my emotions, keeps me in track, keeps me to know my timings, because that hour I spend at the gym makes a lot of difference. It doesn't mean you have to push too hard, but being there makes those calories goes away.
Okay,
Training, not just
so it's not a bad thing that I
not a
was
bad thing at all.
motivated, that we were motivated by this particular event to start working out. But then what is the secret? Is it me going in so hard because I'm looking for this 2 week goal, or should I start off sturdy and look at a more longer term approach?
Consistency at this, Palisa. You can start it slowly and look at the long-term progress. Or you can just try to do it 2 times a day. If you don't have a personal trainer, or if you have a personal trainer, just try to come maybe sometime in the morning, walk on a treadmill, just to walk, to burn those calories, doing it for yourself, and then come back later for a session with your personal trainer. You know that in the morning, you're just taking it easy for yourself. You get to connect with your body. You get to see how your body actually feels, so that when you come back later to a personal trainer, you'll know where to start, where to kickstart what, and also you'll know how to progress about it. Should you go to a vacation where your personal trainer is far from you, you will know what to do and how to do it. Here, we shouldn't rush for perfectism, but we should rush for what a good and perfect movement, not just looking so good and everything. Maintaining your body, get the right form first. Don't just rush saying I can squat 120 kg, but
Mhm.
how are you doing that squat? You can run a kilometer at the certain time. How are you running? How are you pacing yourself? Let's just look at this far beyond to taking care of ourselves rather than doing it for the society. The society is here. It's been there. It's gonna talk. They've been talking. They won't stop now. They won't stop tomorrow. They're gonna keep on talking. But right now, let's focus this. Let's do this gym thing for our own benefits. Yes, looking good. It feels so good wearing a dress when you know you just came from the gym. Like, oh,
Yeah.
mama,
Yes.
that dress looks so good. But talking about it as well, you being fat or having this or being a slender having this, but talking about you going to a gym to a next person, it makes a huge difference to that person. They tend to respect you that you took this decision for yourself.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, Nokwetemba. You know what? I'm sure there are a lot of people who had hoped that you were going to say, don't worry, it's okay. If you have a goal for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and you're going to that event, you must just gym hard, gym for 5 hours a day, and then you'll be able to wear that dress. But I think on the contrary, you were just saying, yeah, you can start today, but just take it easy. You might lose a little bit, but don't let that be what you're concentrating on. Rather, take it easy and look at a more sustainable, long-term way to exercise. We appreciate you and we're looking forward to having more of your gym advice later on in the year, hopefully this year or maybe even next year as well. Thank you so much, Nokwetemba. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you so much, Palesa, for having me. A little advice for our viewers.
Yes.
Don't let this 2 weeks festive season to steal your joy.
Yeah.
Be happy. Focus on your happiness. Enjoy it. Don't limit yourself to eating the festive food.
Yeah.
Eat. You'll deal with your body after.
Enjoy yourself. And you know what? A summer body is whatever body that you bring to summer. That is your summer body. That's Nokwetemba
That's your summer
Danisa,
body.
certified personal trainer at Virgin Active, helping us really understand how we shouldn't be, dictated by our holiday calendar on how we exercise, but rather look at a more long-term approach. Enjoy your festive, guys. It's okay. Go to that wedding. Be happy. It's okay. People will still love you the way that you are. It's 11:27 Central Africa time.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It's Angelique Kijo Agolo. This one is the most classic of classics. Takes us to 11:30 Central Africa time. Musibudi Makura is back with our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Palesa. Very good morning, should I say, from the sports desk. We'll start with this story. So, Shipolopolo, let's start with the story. So, Harry Kane poached a late double as England completed a perfect World Cup qualification campaign with a hard-earned 2-0 victory away to Albania in Group K yesterday. In keeping a clean sheet, Thomas Tuchel's side became the first European nation to qualify for the World Cup without conceding a goal in the group, also featuring at least 6 games. England also became just the 5th European team to qualify for the World Cup with 100% a winning record after finishing Group K with a maximum of 24 points from their 8 games. Meanwhile, Bruno Fernandes led the charge with a dazzling hat-trick. This as Portugal thrashed Armenia 9-1 to book their place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament. The Manchester United midfielder was quite unstoppable, by the way, orchestrating the attack and then finding the net 3 times in a match that showcased Portugal's firepower and depth. Now, this emphatic win not only sealed qualification but also sent a clear message to the rest of Europe. Onto this now, Zambia's assistant coach Peri Motapa acknowledged that his side picked up a few lessons from Bafana Bafana, whose cohesion was quite clear during Saturday's 3-1 friendly defeat at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium in South Africa's Eastern Cape province. South Africa controlled the match comfortably despite conceding a late goal after coach Hugo Bruce rotated the squad to test new combinations. Speaking after the game, Motapa admitted that the Chipolopolo had been thoroughly outclassed by South Africa.
South Africa started on a high note, but we knew this is a good South African team. I think in the last 3-4 years, Hugo Bruce has built a good team with a lot of players, a pool of players to choose from. So whoever plays, I think he is coming to the party, and we knew it was not going to be easy. But for us as Zambia, I think we had about 4 or 5 debutants.
Well, Chipolopolo will face off with Angola on Tuesday in yet another friendly match, as Motapa is hoping now the team will have corrected most of the errors made in that game against South Africa. He also spoke about the fact that there were a couple of players who were ill in the team and hoping that they will be fine come Tuesday.
I should mention that I think we missed I'm just the stand-in coach. Our head coach, I think, is back at the hotel. Our executive vice chair, Karusha Bwaria, is back at the hotel. And some players, some of them I should congratulate the boys because they had stomach upsets and severe fever. But they played in this game. It's not an excuse, but it's good that they did their best.
Right, we'll stay with more football news. South Africa will be well represented at the upcoming CAF Awards in Rabat in Morocco this coming Wednesday, the 19th of November. Talon Smith is up for the Young Player of the Year after starring at the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations tournament earlier in the year and also signing for QPR in the Championship in England. Ronan Williams, meanwhile, is a finalist for the Men's Goalkeeper of the Year alongside Morocco's Bonu as well as Mohamedi. At the same time, Andile Dlamini is in the running for the Women's Goalkeeper of the Year, while Mamelodi Sundowns are the finalists for the Club of the Year. And finally, in golf news, an emotional Rory McIlroy paid tribute to Seve Balatorres after eclipsing the Spaniard by clinching his 7th race to Dubai title, despite being beaten to the DP World Tour Championship by Matt Fitzpatrick. Now, McIlroy moves past Balatorres as tally of 6 and now sits just one behind Colin Montgomery's record of winning the European Tour season long race 8 times. It also caps a year that McIlroy had already called his greatest ever after completing a career Grand Slam by winning the Masters title in April of this year. So that followed a victory at Pebble Beach in February, the prestigious Players Championship in March, and then the Irish Open all in September of this year. On that winning note, it's a wrap from the Sports Desk at this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember as well to give us a call on +27 11 714 Would like to hear from all of our listeners. It's 11:34 p.m. Central African Time. That's a wrap from the Sports Desk at this hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti Les Transformateurs ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc, c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
All right, we keep things moving. Buntle Headbush is standing by to give us our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Palesa. Good morning. In our top story, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which holds over 70% of the world's cobalt reserves, has unveiled its first 1,000 metric tons of traceable artisanal cobalt. This milestone marks a key step in formalizing a sector that employs an estimated 1.5 to 2 million people and supports millions more indirectly. Executive Director of the Southern African Resource Watch, Dr. Claude Kabemba, says although they appreciate this positive step of formalizing this sector, more clarity needs to be provided on a number of questions, including the prices of the cobalt being sold by the artisanal miners.
We know that the labor of these artisanal miners are always undermined. They don't get what they deserve. And what is the value distribution structure from the site level to the export? So we are not very clear. While we appreciate this positive step of formalization, we still have this number of questions that needs to be clarified.
The collection of royalties in Africa rose by 14.2% in 2024 to $104.72 million. This is according to a report by the International Confederation of Societies of Authors and Composers, SISAC. SISAC says that while Africa remains the world's smallest collecting region, the rate of growth was more than 4 percentage points higher than any other market globally. It says music revenues increased by 10%, reaching nearly $93 million, while audiovisual income grew by 2.6% and literature by an exceptional 90.8%. The Institute of Local Government Managers in South Africa has urged municipal managers to keep the Auditor General abreast of what is happening in their municipalities to avoid being issued with a certificate of debt. This after Auditor General Tsakani Maluleke exercised some of her new powers by forcing the Ngaka Mudiri Mulema district municipal manager in South Africa's Northwest Province to pay back almost $270,000. Municipal manager Alan Nosaba will have to pay the money from his own pocket due to an overpayment for water tank services rendered to the municipality by a service provider. This is the first time the Auditor General is issuing the certificate of debt since the Public Audit Act's extended powers came into effect in April 2019. Nkosi Yezwe Vezi is the chairperson of the KwaZulu-Natal chapter of the Institute of Local Government Managers.
If they are encountering difficulties in collecting the money that the Auditor General has instructed them to collect, they must report these matters to the Auditor General and appraise the Auditor General of the difficulties that they are going through in implementing the recommendations. I am sure the Auditor General will not just go ahead and issue a certificate of debt on you. the municipal manager if we have explained to them adequately what difficulties are encountering. Some municipal managers are finding it very difficult to implement these recommendations because of the political pressure under which we operate.
Real action is needed to help people who are fighting health battles like cancer. That's according to Head of Communications at Roche South Africa, Gugulethu Makhubo. She says the integration of artificial intelligence, telemedicine and digital health platforms not only saves lives, but also unlocks billions of dollars in economic value. Makhubo says when innovation meets partnership, lives can be saved and protected.
Digital tools and smart health technology partnerships are the key to transforming healthcare in Africa, given the complexities of all the different markets and the constraints on resource. For example, through a partnership as well as digital tools, we can dramatically improve survival rates for diseases like breast cancer, as well as unlock billions in economic savings.
Japan's economy shrank almost 2% in the 3 months through September as a drop in exports in the face of U.S. tariffs resulted in the first contraction in 6 quarters. Government data showed that shipments from automakers in particular plummeted following a period of hiking exports before tariffs came into effect. Economists say the contraction most likely represents a temporary setback rather than the start of a recession. They say the contraction is largely due to one-time factors such as housing investment being affected by regulatory change, and that the trend still points to a gradual recovery over the next year or two. And now for our final look at the indicators this morning. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,440 naira. In Botswana, it's at 13.66. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 44. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 29. Russia is 80 rubles 78. India, 88 rupees 65. China 719, and South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 6 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,087 per ounce, platinum at $1,552 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.89 a barrel. And those are your business news this morning. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
África. Conhece o Ntivani?
Claro que sou eu.
Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma.
Eu amo música africana.
Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel Africa. Okay. Adivinha só, a Channel Africa quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel Africa está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
The G20 Summit. Through African eyes, live updates, and expert voices. Only on Channel Africa.
Hey. المرومبا كان لي مسيلي ليسوك من أنتهم ملال كان لي مسيلي izoko mina ngidawumelela. Ikala ni maseli izoko mina ngidawumelela. Ikala ni maseli izoko mina ngidawumelela. Angarangiti supekela wanseka. Akuzobina sitahela. Azizinomelela. Angarangiti supekela wanseka. Akuzobina sitahela. Azizinomelela. Angarangiti supekela wanseka. Akuzobina sitahela. Azizinomelela. Angarangiti supekela wanseka. Akuzobina sitahela. Azizinomelela.
Be inspired. Stay informed. Channel Africa, the beauty of life. Now available anytime, anywhere with our new app.
yow mi nga xam ne bëgguma ku dul yow jaral nga ma guux pétrole di waltaal nga la jaral nga ma dem wax sa xalaat dem wax sa xalaat ma wax la sama xalaat yow mi ma tànn ci seen biir def la àndandoo nara fas yéene nga doon jabar nga la bundireeroo nga la bundireeroo nga la bundireeroo ba kenn duñu kekkantoo yow mi nga xam ne bëgguma ku dul yow jaral nga ma guux pétrole di wal nga la jaral nga ma di ma wax sa xalaat di ma wax sa xalaat ma wax la sama xalaat yow mi ma tànn ci seen biir def la àndandoo nara fas yéene nga doon jabar nga la bundireeroo nga la bundireeroo ba kenn duñu kekkantoo
This is Theon Sek, Senegal Stand Up. This is music coming from your region. Yo is the name of this particular one. It's 11:50 Central Africa time. Before we say goodbye, just in a couple of minutes, Lulu is here to let us know what's coming up on today's Africa Update. Good morning. Happy Monday, Lulu.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Good weekend?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. All right. So today, as you know, is a build-up to the G20 weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Channel Africa will be there on the ground. And we're going to be speaking here to a senior lecturer in the Department of Political Science at the University of South Africa, Professor Dirk Kotze. And this is just with regards to South Africa's president having announced that his country will symbolically hand over the G20 presidency to an empty chair during the upcoming summit in Johannesburg, as the US has declined to attend. No delegates have been sent through or are being sent through. So, this is now what is going to happen. Whether this will be acceptable is something else altogether. And also, with everything that is decided on with regards to the G20, we'll find out from Professor Kotze whether, because there's a missing party, there are two missing parties. Yes, the Foreign Ministry of Argentina will be here in attendance, but the US president and the Argentine president are not going to be here. What does that mean? Can whatever is decided upon in South Africa's G20 be acceptable with a member missing? So this is something that we'll be unpacking and focusing on. And then also authorities in the DRC saying 32 miners have been killed in a collapse of a bridge at a cobalt mine in the southeast of the country. We're going to be speaking there to Jimmy Shukrani Bakwanera, our correspondent on the ground in the DRC, and he'll unpack exactly what happened, how this happened, and how government is going to assist, if there will be assistance for the families, and how the operations are running in terms of whether it is search and rescue or search and recovery. So all of that and more coming up in Africa Update.
All right, the Africa Update from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Africa time. For now, we're still on the move, and we'll be back just after this.
Global leaders, African insights. Follow the G20 summit with Channel Africa as it happens. Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126. And we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am,
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views. Share your opinion. Engage with the community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more.
I think
it's time we confronted the situation in front of us. And I think it's time we talk it out and forget all the fuss. And if it's not, I'll have to understand, and I'll be out your way. No drama involved, but if you feel it's me, if you feel I'm the one, you're gonna need to make a way for me to see. But as for me, you're the one, and in my heart, time will come till the end. I'ma always be right by your side. But as for me, you're the one, and in my heart, time will come till the end. I'ma always be right by your side. I know you're the one, I know our time will come. I feel you in my heart, I see you in my dreams, I keep you in my prayers. I think it's time you admit that I'm the only one for you, yeah. And I think it's time you let go of all your fears and just trust me, babe, 'cause I know you are. And I know this isn't what you're meant to do. You have pure intentions, what is the issue? So just open up and let me see inside. Maybe you should just put your pride aside. But as for me, you're the one, and in my heart, time will come till the end. I'ma always be right by your side. But as for me, you're the one, and in my heart, time will come till the end. I'ma always be right by your side. I know we can make it, baby. Take a chance on me. Let me show you good times, baby. Take a chance on us. Take a chance on us. But as for me, you're the one, and in my heart, time will come till the end. I'ma always be right by your side. But as for me, you're the one, and in my heart, time will come till the end. I'ma always be right by your side.
This is Elaine, You're the One, and it's time for me to say goodbye. It's been a beautiful day, Channel Africa family, and I'm not leaving you empty-handed. Of course, I leave you with the Africa Update. Lulu Gabu will give you the insights of what's going on the continent and the world over in the next hour. Have yourself a fantastic day. It's only the beginning of the work week, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Have a good one.
DJ Spinall. I'm on my way to you. The time is on the loose. I will always fight for truth. If I had the chance to choose.